How's it going, gentlemen? I had a good week. Managed to get back into the mix of it. Back at 2-2. Happy to be. Figured I'd break out my Javon curse. My team went a little freakish this weekend, I'm happy to say. Otherwise, it was a good weekend of football. I'm excited for this weekend. Got college, and it's a good game at Texas and Oklahoma tomorrow. Otherwise, fun week of fantasy. We got a couple good matchups coming up. We'll take a look at those later on. I also got a little help this week, so I hope you guys enjoy. Take care. Ronnie versus Kevin. Both teams 1-2. Here we're starting off with Vic with a 16-yard touchdown pass to the corner of the end zone. Here on a 61-yard bomb to Deshaun Jackson, Vic managed 416 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He ran for 75 yards. My new favorite player of the year, Darren Sproles. He is just so quick. He's been doing that forever in San Diego. He managed 75 yards rushing and 56 yards receiving. Just had a great day all around. My best back so far. My other back, Steven Jackson, here on a 15-yard touchdown catch from Sam Bradford. He managed 45 yards and 19 yards receiving. Vincent Jackson, the other Jackson brother, had a big touchdown there. He had 108 yards receiving and a touchdown. Otherwise, Detroit's defense, I was getting a little worried about these guys. They managed to come back. Here, Romo throws a pick to one of his groomsmen in his wedding. Here in the second one, goes for 6. They managed back-to-back passes for interceptions. So that managed to give me a ton of points going into this. Looking at all my points, I put up 191, but was a little worried because I saw that man, Aaron Rodgers, here on this 50-yard TD pass to Jordy Nelson. Luckily, I got those points, a last-minute switch. Here, he threw for 408 yards, 4 touchdowns, 36 yards running, 2 running touchdowns. Here, this one, they had to take this one to a replay because they didn't count it at first, but he managed to get in there on that nice little 8-yard touchdown run. Here's last 16-yard touchdown pass to James Jones. He just put up tons of points, 74 points total. His other stud, Darren McFadden, here on a 38-yard run. Owen Daniels with a touchdown catch. And Kevin put up those numbers, but just did not manage to get the win. I pulled it off, squeaked one out. Now that was a great matchup between 2 top quarterbacks. Do you have any comments? Arsenal-Tottenham was a matchup I actually paid attention to. Am I being paid for this? Here's our matchup of David 2-1 versus Mike 1-2. We're going to look at Fitzgerald, one of my favorite players. Here on a nice 46-yard catch from Cobb, you're going to see the replay. He just gets up there and he just steals that ball away. Fitzgerald managed 102 yards receiving, Cobb had 237 yards passing and 1 touchdown. Otherwise, he had Ryan Matthews going here on a 42-yard scamper. He managed 81 yards rushing, 68 yards receiving. Dwayne Bowe managed to embarrass the Vikings, juking out those guys here on a 52-yard touchdown catch. He managed 107 yards and a touchdown. The Bears went nuts here with an interception return for a touchdown right off in the first quarter against Carolina. But then there's the man, Devin Hester, here on a 69-yard punt return for a touchdown. He managed to break Eric Metcalf's punt return record. Also, Julius Peppers managed this field goal block. Mike would have done much better if he would have had Romo starting, but he didn't. We're going to look at David here with Matt Ryan on a 1-yard touchdown pass. And then there's LaShawn McCoy on a 5-yard TD run. Hakeem Nicks was his big scorer here on a 29-yard touchdown pass from Eli Manning. He had 162 yards receiving in that touchdown. David managed to take down Mike in this little matchup. David, I apologize for the lack of Ray Rice highlights, but that one was a squeaker. I wasn't sure if you were going to make it, but you did. My last poo was a squeaker. We got Zach and Shawn going into this one. Zach had Percy Harvin going. He had here on this 22-yard reverse run. He managed 67 yards rushing, 42 yards receiving. Vernon Davis here on this 9-yard TD catch. He managed 45 yards receiving on that touchdown. Otherwise, most of his scoring was from his defense. His 4 total touchdowns for the team were 2 from the defense. Here, Shawn had Rivers going with my guy, Vincent Jackson, getting up and getting in on that 55-yard one. Here on a nice 40-yard touchdown pass to Vincent Jackson. Rivers managed 307 yards passing, a touchdown, and 18 yards running. He also had Arian Foster here on this 42-yard touchdown run. Foster had 155 yards running in that touchdown, 11 yards receiving. Otherwise, A.J. Green put up a great catch on this one. It just lays out. He had 118 yards receiving. Shawn managed to get the numbers up there and managed to pull off the victory against Zach. That cannot sit well, but he just stomped him. Zach, your team is sad and pathetic. You're the lowest scoring team in the league. Somehow I let you beat me.
If I unzip my pants, I could show you something about as sad and pathetic as that was.
Here's Nick and Eric, another matchup of teams both 1 and 2. We're going to start off with Eric here on a 23-yard touchdown pass to Calvin Johnson. Stafford managed 240 yards passing and 2 touchdowns, both to CJ. Otherwise, the not good news for his team here, Andre Johnson going down with a severe hamstring injury. That is not looking good. But his other receiver managed to step up here, Sidney Rice. I was just happy to get T-Jack into this one. But you left Gore on the bench, which was just a ton of points for you and could have gotten you the victory. But here's Nick with his quarterback writhing in pain. Here we can see the hit. He just lands right there on the shoulder. That's not looking good. Otherwise, his man AP managed to put up 80 yards rushing. I don't think the Vikings utilized him enough. Same could be said probably of MJD here against the Saints, ripping up a 40-yard run. Otherwise, Mike Wallace had a nice game here on a 40-yard catch. He had 77 yards receiving. Otherwise, his big stud and has been all year is Jimmy Graham. He had 132 yards receiving in that touchdown. You managed to pull it off, but I still don't know why you have Manning on the bench. Nick, Eric, your teams aren't very good. Pick it up.
This video isn't very good either. Public education.
In our final matchup, our matchup of the week, Gordo versus John, we're going to look at Gordy's team first. He had Breeze going here on a 61-yard pass to Jimmy Graham, who is Nick's nice stud. Breeze managed 351 yards passing and a touchdown. Forte once again had a big day with a 17-yard TD run and then this nice little 40-yard run to end the game on the Panthers. He managed 205 yards rushing and 23 yards receiving with 1 touchdown. Otherwise, Fred Jackson had a nice touchdown there to the left side. Otherwise, Calvin Johnson once again was your big stud. He had 96 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. Nobody on your bench would have helped you much. Because you're going against this guy, Brady and Welker, here on a 16-yard touchdown pass. Brady threw another one. He had 226-yard passing with those 2 TDs. Welker had 158 yards receiving in that 1 touchdown. Michael Turner had a big day, 70 yards rushing with these 2 TDs. Otherwise, Steve Smith looked good. He had 181 yards receiving. Jason Witten had a big day, 94 yards receiving, a touchdown. I don't know if I can get all these highlights in. I got Reed, sack, fumble, recovery for a TD for his defense. His defense had 2 sacks, 1 interception, 3 fumble recoveries, 3 touchdowns, and only allowed 11 points. It was ridiculous. Here, this last one, the nice pick 6 to the end zone ended the day, I think, putting up 27 points for his defense was just ridiculous. John's team is just unstoppable right now, putting up 200 points again, and nobody else has. John, your team is just a monster. Gordy, I'm sorry. You guys, what a shootout. What a shootout.
Good show, gentlemen. Good show.
All right, that's going to do it for the highlights. I hope you guys have a great football weekend coming up here. And here's this week's matchups.